Fire Flame Nation GFTV back with another Fire Flame meltdown. Make sure y'all hit that like button, stomp, step, and stand all over that notification bell when you want the latest. And if you ain't a fire starter, hawker, walker, or stalker yet, what you waiting on, family? Come on over here and subscribe because we stomp, step, and stand on real morals and traditional principles. And we know ain't nothing morally sound or traditional about what we have been witnessing with this situation with Isaiah Harris. Now, it's crazy how time fly as it has been, you know what I mean, just about a year. We are approaching and it looks like the deadline is ahead for Mr. Jarvis Butts, all right, the monster himself, all right, as we are literally at the closing arguments. And like I said, man, it's funny how time fly. You know what I mean? Just a little over a year ago, everybody was wondering how this situation was going to play out. Everybody was uh, wondering would anybody ever get charged for this situation. And here we are a year later with somebody actually being held accountable for Miss Naziah Harris. All right, situation. Not only that, the sad part about all this, man, all right, Naziah Harris remains and her body has never been recovered. All right. So that right there is not bringing any closure, you know, to the family. But let's go over, all right, some things, all right, because it's been nearly a year since 13-year-old Naziah Harris went missing in Detroit's East Side. All right, fire starters, drop your fire and TVs in the chat. Let's go. Dozens of searches have been conducted since then, but she has never been found. Her case almost went cold until later in the year when Jarvis Butts was arrested in connection to the Zaya Harris disappearance. Police began investigating her case as a homicide. All right, piece by piece, police have been trying to understand what happened to Naziah and how Butts is connected to her unaliving. All right, so prosecutors said Butts was supposed to turn himself in to authorities on a poll charge. All right, on January 9th, 2024. The day Naziah went missing, fire starters, but that date was pushed back to February as Harris allegedly met up with Butts, Mr. Monster Jarvis Man himself that day, and the two reportedly went allegedly met up with the monster himself, all right, Mr. Jarvis Butts that day, and the two reportedly went to Ypsilanti before returning back to Detroit, where Butts checked into a motel, y'all. All right, now, text records indicate and allege that Butts knew Harris was pregnant with his child, y'all. All right, this shit gets crazy. And that he began searching online about abortions, abortion pills, and all kinds of different methods to get rid of this unborn child, even drinking red antifreeze, ladies and gentlemen. This is crazy, all right? Authorities also believe Butts had been sexually abusing Harris since 2022, all right, before unaliving her in January. Prosecutors said he had a history of targeting and befriending women to get close to and sexual abuse their daughters. All right, this is crazy. I hope y'all hear this. All right, all my females out there. All right, no cap. All right, be careful of the men that you choose. All right, because everything that's shining a diamond and the damn sure ain't gold. All right, I don't care how attractive something looks to you. All right, because 9 times out of 10, man, everything that's what good for you, damn sure ain't healthy for you. Everything that's good to you ain't healthy for you. Everything that look good to you could be bad for your goddamn health. All right, physically, mentally, all right, and spiritually. All right, so be careful. All right, it's not only sexual abuse. It's not the only. Know what I mean, SA abuse case Mr. Jarvis Butts is involved with. All right, he also has been charged with reportedly SAing 2 other young girls, as well as a connection and a conviction for a sexual assault in 2005. Prosecutor called Butts a serial child rapist, y'all, who sexually a SA, an 8-year-old family member, and and a girlfriend's 4-year-old daughter, who reportedly caught chlamydia from the assault, y'all. All right, this is crazy. He was charged on September 27, 2024, as a habitual fourth-time offender. All right, 4 times. The third time his ass should have been underneath the fucking jail. All right, shouldn't have been able to hurt no one else. All right. But Butts and Harris reportedly known each other because he was the father of her cousins. The abuse of Harris allegedly began in 2022 with sexually explicit texts and photos being sent to the child. He was tracked in the Rogue River in Detroit the day after her disappearance, where police would later recover the clothes Harris was last seen wearing. Authorities said there was damage to the clothing that could indicate there was a struggle. Butts has been charged with first degree premeditated unaliving, all right, child SAN, child abusive material, sexual abusive material, and second degree criminal SAN, sexual conduct with a person under the age of 13, y'all. So this is crazy, man. And this is why I say, man, you have to watch who we bring around our children at all times, man. It doesn't matter how friendly they might be, how, now I mean, they personality might attract you, all right, in any type of way. You have to be mindful and thoughtful of your children and the people that you are bringing in the space of your family and your loved ones inside your home, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Always remember that. Okay, y'all? So let's continue. Desire Harris got off of a school bus at Cornwall Street and Third Mile Drive, which is near the intersection of Warren Avenue and Outer Drive on Detroit's east side. She was never seen again, ladies and gentlemen. Jarvis Butts was scheduled to turn himself in on a gun charge. However, this was pushed back to February. Detroit Public School Community District launched an investigation. Annette Harris, Naziah Harris' grandmother and guardian, reported her disappearance. All right, February 14th, 2024, after officials with the Detroit Public School Community District hit a roadblock. They brought the case to the Detroit Police Department, leading to police canvassing the area and investigating the case on February 14th. All right, which was also Valentine's Day, y'all. So, man, a whole lot of broken hearts were being broken on this day when this is supposed to be a day of love and a day of joy and a day of wholesome genuosity. You know what I mean? And this is the type of nightmare you get. All right. Detectives also say Jason Mays and his partner interviewed Jarvis Butts in connection to Naziah case. Butts claimed he was dealing with a legal issue on the day Naziah went missing. He also told Mays and Johnson that Naziah, who related to one of his daughters, would occasionally come to his auto shop to work with his daughter. Police began searching a pond near the intersection of Garrett Avenue and Quinn Road in the Clinton Township area related to Naziah's disappearance. All right, so as months and days and weeks continue to linger and go by, man, you know what I mean? They put on an investigation. Everybody is on the search efforts trying to find Naziah and trying to narrow down the last place where she was seen and the last place which she might be possibly, you know what I mean, found at. So yeah, man, so time was just floating on by. And as of March 7th, 2024, okay, a woman reports to police she found Naziah's school ID. She claims she stepped over it multiple times for over 2 weeks before deciding to pick it up. Once she picked it up, the ID that was face down, she recognized it was Naziah Harris' photo, ladies and gentlemen, and she immediately, right away, called the police. All right, so around the time of March 12th, 2024, 2 months after Naziah's disappearance, her family told Local 4 Detroit News they're holding onto hope of finding her. At this point, there had been over a dozen searches for her. Authorities searched the area of 7 Mile and Berg near the river in relation to Naziah's case. There, they found pink overall, ladies and gentlemen, a black hoodie with headphones in a pocket in one shoe. All right, one shoe, which is crazy, man. Can you imagine what the family have to go through without never seeing their loved one, their daughter, their sister, their cousin ever again? The only thing that's left of them is a black hoodie, pink overalls, a pair of headphones, all right, and a shoe. All right, so Detroit police submit a warrant request relating to Naziah's disappearance. All right, Wayne County prosecutor Kim Worthy announced Jarvis Butts was charged in connection to her disappearance. Authorities announced the case will be treated as a homicide, even though, all right, a body has not been found. All right. So on September 27, 2024, Jarvis Butts was arraigned and faced multiple charges in Naziah's disappearance and unaliving. All right. November 1st comes, 2024, Jarvis Butts' preliminary examination begins. It not only focuses on the Zaya case, ladies and gentlemen, but it also focuses on the monster previous victims that he was what recently convicted for, right? For SANN, um, S assaulting these people and things like that. And these was also, all right, a 13-year-old and a 20-year-old testified in two separate, all right, SA cases, all right? This is crazy, y'all. So on January 6th, 2025, Jarvis Butts' preliminary examination continued. Dozens of witnesses have testified so far. More are expected to testify on January 20th. On January 8th, 2025. And y'all, let me tell y'all, all right, we are now on the 15th of January. We are now in the closing arguments of this case. And let me tell you something, man. This monster, all right, this predator, as we see, all right, the local news and the headlines, y'all see what they name this guy, right? You see what they signify him as, right? It's all over your screen. I ain't even got to repeat it. But peep game, yo. Jarvis Butts is going to get exactly what he has coming to him. And to be honest, he should get what he been should have got. All right, years ago, because like they said, this is his fourth time. He's a fourth habitual offender, ladies and gentlemen. How was he able to still walk the streets after doing this in three different separate cases and being found guilty and being convicted of it? All right, and this is why I tell all my female following and my fire starters and my family and my females in real life, watch the men that you associate yourself with. Watch the men that you meet on social media. Watch these charming and conniving men. Now, I'm not saying that it's not really good, honest, and genuine men out there, but listen here, man. Everybody ain't got good intentions. All right, everybody intentions is not from the heart. Everybody intentions is not genuine. As it says, all right, this man was a certified serial child rapist that actually what befriended women and charm them just to get close to their daughters, just to SA them. All right, so this is a cold, calculated monster. All right, and it could be going on upstairs, next door, down the street, downstairs, or around the motherfucking corner. You never fucking know. But y'all let me know what y'all think. All right, because Jarvis Butts, I hope they burn your ass alive. No disrespect. All right. Anybody who does this to a child and does this on multiple different occasions and multiple different scenarios and code calculated plan all this out, all right, got to be, all right, the demon himself. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe. RIP to Naziah Harris at the Fire Flame Nation. Send our condolences to her and the family. Always remember, fear the fire and fear the flame. God